IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we share the journey of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners. Hi guys, I'm Faiza with my co-host Saif, and our guest today is Aakash Mehrotra. Aakash is a business consultant and a social researcher in digital finance domain focusing on livelihoods and financial inclusion. Along with this, Aakash is a travel writer who blogs under the name Hand of Colors. Akash's work has been featured in several leading publications such as The Hindu and The Tribune. Aakash, thank you so much for being a part of the Musafir Stories and welcome to the show.
Hi, and thanks a lot for inviting me there.
It's a pleasure.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Well, Akash, the introduction that I gave about you is very concise. Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little about yourself and when did the travel bug bit you?
So, the travel bug, it's a long story actually, but I started traveling when I was in my college as part of my college trips. So, I did environment management and we used to have like long trips, study trips actually, and that is when I started traveling basically.
Okay.
And from then after that, my first job involved a lot of traveling. And a lot of traveling means like I was traveling something like 15 or 20 days a month,
Whoa.
going to different areas and in fact to some very remote areas of the country.
Okay.
Some the frontier villages and some villages which are like it's difficult to locate them on the map.
Oh my God.
So that's when traveling bug actually hit me. But I had not thought of writing then. So I had some of my work published and I had been doing some bit of writing, but I never thought of start writing travelogues then. Only when I visited Ranthambore National Park and I was like way too lucky in Ranthambore National Park. In one day I had like 3 tiger sightings and
Oh my God.
I was like overwhelmed.
Whoa.
And a leopard.
Wow.
Like I was super lucky.
Yeah, the nature
And-
wanted you to write.
Actually, maybe. So then I decided that why don't I put down this account and like, let's see if I'm good at, writing travelogues because I used to write a lot of factual stuff, which is more of like a reportage things. And travel writing is very, very different from reportages. Travel writing is very different from fiction writing as well. So I thought, let's give it a try. Let's see how can I write. And it went out well. And luckily I sent it to Indian Express. They picked that up.
Wow.
That was my first travelogue which was published. And I was like, okay, I can do it. And then came Sikkim, which made me into a traveler, complete traveler. 7 or 8 days in Sikkim.
Okay.
And from then it started. Like I started traveling for writing or writing for traveling, whatever you call it. From then it all started.
The rest is history, right?
Yeah, it's still history. So it was something like in 2013 and by 2014 I had become like a frequent traveler and frequent writer. So yeah, from then it started. The blog came in 2014, like mid of 2014 something.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, that is it. That's how traveling and writing is started.
That's
Awesome.
great.
And tell us a little bit more about the name of the blog, Akash. Hand of Colors, that seems to be a unique name. Is there a story behind that?
I was in Udaipur and it was some festival. I don't remember the name. Something from G. So these ladies, they were actually putting colors on their hands and then they were putting it on the like the river bank or on the wall. So somebody like some foreigner asked me, what is this? And I said, it's Hand of Colors. And that's where I picked that
The name, right. That's a nice story behind the name.
And in fact, the logo of the blog is also that one of the shots taken from there of a lady putting her hands print on the wall.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Awesome. As I was saying, it is a very beautiful name and very apt name for your blog, because your blog has absolutely all the beautiful colors as well as beautiful words. So
Oh, thanks.
I would strongly recommend our listeners to go ahead and check out Akash's blog, handofcolors.me, M-E, to find more of these beautiful colors and pictures that I'm talking about. So, Aakash, getting on with the interview, we have a customary tradition at the Musafir Stories where each episode we invite guest travelers and request them to take our listeners on a journey to a travel destination and speak at length and in depth about that destination. Everything from things to do, things to see, places to eat, and perhaps places to avoid as well. In short, the A to Z of that place. So with that in mind, where are you taking our listeners today?
To Northeast, Nagaland.
Awesome. And why do you choose that place, Aakash? Any significance?
I think I have some sort of an affection with that place. It was also one of the earliest long trips I've taken in my life, from my hometown to attend my cousin's marriage, and from then I had visited that place some 2 or 3 times. And most importantly, it's a very different spectacle. It's a different cuisine, it's a different heritage, cultures are different. There are so many tribes, and each tribe has its own identical, individuality. So it's just like a kaleidoscope of colors, and a lot of activities. So it's very significant that ways.
Absolutely, and it's one of the very underrated places as well in terms of travel and beauty, right?
I think the entire Northeast is so underrated.
Awesome. We're super excited to be going to Nagaland with you then.
Sure.
So Aakash, how did you get to Nagaland? What are the best options for travel, and how did you get there?
Like Nagaland, Dimapur in Nagaland has a railway station and it has an airport as well. So it's pretty well connected to all the major cities of the country. Dimapur is the only area which is in plains. The rest of Nagaland is all hills. Yeah, so and Dimapur is the only place in Nagaland to have a railway head. From there, anywhere in Nagaland, you will have to take a bus. So Dimapur is well connected with Guwahati, Kolkata and Delhi. In fact, even from south, there are direct trains and direct flights going to Dimapur. So it's pretty well connected actually.
Yeah.
And then what about the timing of this trip that you made? What's the best time to travel to Nagaland?
Actually, I'll say you can travel any time of the year. The weather is great. And if there is a complete, festival calendar, so you can choose which festival and then go. But I'll suggest you to go during the Hornbill festival, which is the first week of December, from December 1 to December 10. 10 days long festival. And why? Because in Hornbill festival, all the 17 tribes of Nagaland, they come to this place called Kisama. Kisama is some 10 kilometers from the capital Kohima. Kisama is a heritage village. They all assemble there, and in these 10 days, you can see their culture, their dance, their different sorts of competitions, and a whole lot of activities to do for 10 days. So I think if you want to really get a taste of Nagaland and different ethnicities in Nagaland, which it is famous for, Hornbill is the best time. In Hornbill, you get all of these 17 tribes there. And all of these 17 tribes are very, very different from each other. Their customs and traditions, everything is so different. Their language is different. Their cuisines are different.
Oh, so do we get to taste all that? I mean, are there like stalls or I don't know?
Yes.
They are?
So,
wow.
Yeah, there are. In fact, you will have a model hut. Like this hut is it shows that how this particular XYZ tribe lives. Like, you can get inside the hut and see how they decorate their house, like what is the main thing. And right outside it, you will have a stall which sells cuisines of that particular tribe.
Wow.
So you can taste all these cuisines.
Oh my God.
It seems like a real melting pot of all the cultures of
It is.
Nagaland, right?
Yeah, it is actually.
Excellent. And then Akash, before we get into the specifics of the Hornbill Festival, in terms of preparation and permits or anything to get to Nagaland, anything important that you'd like to call out?
Yes, actually, you need an inner line permit to Nagaland.
Okay.
I think it's only Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, where you need inner line permits.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's also very easy to get. You can go to like Nagaland House in Delhi and get the permit. It'll issue you permits within hours, in fact. Or you can go to Guwahati, get a permit from there. Or you can reach Nagaland and go to an office in Dimapur or Kohima and get a permit.
Okay.
And
So is there any option that we can do anything online?
I don't think there is.
Okay. So best is to get to the airport and maybe apply for the
Yes.
permit at Dimapur. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very small form actually. And the permit is valid till the time you want to remain there.
Oh.
Like for me, the permit said that I'll be there from this day to this day.
Okay.
It's only for security purposes. Actually, no one came to check my permit, but then it's always better to have it.
That's true. Yeah.
Awesome. So now that we have the permit and we're ready to go, let's get down into the specifics of Nagaland and the Hornbill Festival, which was your first pit stop. Tell us a little bit more about how the schedule of the Hornbill Festival is, Akash. You did mention that it's on for 10 days from the 1st of
Yes.
December to the 10th of December each year.
So day one is usually the opening ceremony sort of a thing, where all the tribes come and they present their dances, and the exhibitions are opened. And there can be loads of exhibitions there, some handicrafts, some Nagaland artifacts, some flower exhibition, like it's a lot of things. And all these 10 days, you will have different activities to do. There'll be a rock festival, and bands of Nagaland and Manipur and like the Northeast will come and perform. And there are bike tours, there are literary festivals.
There's always something going on. So, but
There's always something going on.
Wow.
Apart from like the normal dance and the warrior dances and the cultural exhibitions, there's always some activity going on.
wow. So, can we get a schedule or something of it, like what's happening when?
Yes.
it
The
put
schedule is put up on the Nagaland tourism website.
Oh, okay.
So that way you can plan. I was there for first 2 days, and then I went especially on the last day, like end of the day, because the end of the day is a chili eating festival, and I wanted to be there.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I've heard the Nagaland chilies and pickles are like the most spiciest and the most hot pickles ever.
They are the hottest. They are the
Lord.
hottest. Like you have to literally eat it to believe it.
Yeah, did you try the chili eating festival? I mean, chili eating competition? Did you participate
Yes,
in it?
I did participate.
Oh my God, hats off to you.
As I'm telling you, I am like I have become like attuned to it. In Nagaland, it's a necessary part of the ingredient of their cuisine.
Okay.
But if you go to Manipur, they literally like worship this chili. Like
Oh.
it's like if the chili is not there in the food, then there's something missing.
Oh my God.
Well, what's this called, Akash? What's this chili called again?
It's called Bhoot Jalokia.
Okay.
Wow, it's got a perfect name.
It
Jalokia.
has a perfect name. It's pretty small, in fact. It's like the size of the little finger, and but it's super hot.
Oh.
The after effects are something to think about, and
I
it's a
know.
good thing that they have this on the last day and not on the first day.
And you have to literally see the feast that day. Like it's one of the most celebrated events over there. So many people come, and the guy who wins this, mind you, like you can literally, the way he is celebrated, I'm damn sure he becomes a celebrity for some days.
Absolutely. For an entire year, maybe till the next Hornbill
Maybe the
festival
entire year.
happens. Yeah.
Entire-
Yeah.
And Akash, how about the crowds? How crowded is the Hornbill Festival? Because I know it is like popular culture here in India, and is very like synonymous with one of the biggest festivals of the Northeast, right? So, in terms of the crowds from Indians to foreigners, how many people roughly to turn out for this festival?
I think last year some 1 lakh people came to Nagaland for this festival, I could hear that the attendance is somewhat less than the previous year.
Okay.
So, like, you can, like, I think 1 or 2 lakh people come, but I could see more foreigners over there. And most of the Indians were, like, either travelers like me or the other northeastern guys, like someone from Manipur, someone from Mizoram. And I think some of the people actually come for bike tours.
Really? What about them? Akash, can you elaborate a little bit on those?
There are bike groups which come, like Mizoram bike group will come, bike groups from Manipur will come, and that is like attempt to boost adventure tourism in Nagaland.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, in the entire Northeast, because it has a lot of potential for adventure tourism.
And it seems like a great mix of events as well, right? The Hornbill Festival, it's not focused on just one thing, right? From the
Definitely.
Tribes with their culture and their heritage and their dances and their music and all of that, to adventure bike tours and stuff like this, to silly eating competitions and literary events, whatnot. It's like everything under the sun. It's
like everything. It's like everything. In fact, even I was amazed when I looked at the entire schedule. Oh, ye bhi hota hai. I was like, oh my God.
Absolutely. And Akash, anything else that stood out in the festival that you'd like to cover?
Okay, another interesting thing is that during these 10 days, there's a culture of night bazaar in Kohima. So you attend this festival, then you go back to Kohima. If you are staying, you can stay in Kisama also, but Kisama has limited number of options. So most of the people stay in Kohima, which is hardly 10 or 12 kilometers from Kisama.
Okay.
And Kohima has night bazaar culture then, which is again a feast. So you'll have different tribes with their cuisines there, like the Aos will have their own food, the other tribes will have their own food. So there are again different stalls, there are again like tattoo making things, there are face painting stalls. Again, over there also you can spend like hours together.
Yeah, it seems like a good plan then, right? To stay, to lodge at Kohima and then make that trip to Kisama whenever you're at the festival. Yeah,
I'll suggest that.
So how about transport, Akash? How easy is it to get a transport to?
From Kohima to Kisama, there's always a bus running.
Okay.
Especially in these days, you will always have a bus or a shared taxi running.
Okay.
So it won't be a problem.
And during your time in Nagaland, in general, and the Hornbill Festival in particular, how did you manage your transport? Like, how does one get around Nagaland?
To get around from one city to the other city, you will have to depend on buses. And within the city, you have local transport, like local buses, or otherwise you will have shared taxis.
Okay.
Shared taxis are more popular there. You might not get buses for like connecting every place, but you'll have shared taxis. These shared taxis, because they are not very frequent, so they are mostly jam-packed. They're always jam-packed, in fact.
Oh my God, okay.
And the roads, that's another experience, because you wouldn't have seen like more horrible roads than Nagaland roads. Kohima is better, but that better also is like,
Relatively better, yeah.
Quite a ride.
Great. And
never try to drink water when you are traveling.
Oh my God, okay.
You're a sipper,
I did that.
Think. Oh Lord. And I think never eat your stomach full as well, because that ride is going to like do all crazy things in your stomach.
I don't know actually, because Nagaland food is very light.
Oh, okay. And I had to ask you this one. So how is the food normally? Is it veg, non-veg? How is it?
It's a mix of both veg and non-veg. You get veg stuff, so there's really no problem about it.
Okay, that's great.
And non-veg options, so obviously, like you need not ask about it. You get everything. So there's in Kohima, there's a place called Kira Market.
Okay.
So you can go and buy insects there for your food.
Oh.
Probably one of the few in India, I'm assuming.
Okay, what's the craziest thing you ate?
The craziest thing I ate was river worms.
Oh my God, okay.
And those are fresh actually.
Oh Lord, okay, that gives me goosebumps.
I even tried a spider. I just tried one bite. just one bite, I was like, I can't have it, please.
Lord.
It's like a psychological attack on you the first time you hear this. It's almost like the same thing. It's just like having some very, crispy thing, like a kurkure something sort of.
Okay, I like the way you put it.
But the good part about the food over there is most of the vegetables and even the non-veg, they are all water-based. They don't use oil much. Like, they don't even use oil.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And everything is cooked in water, so it's very, very light. And they boil a lot. So all the vegetables or the non-veg dishes, they're all boiled.
Okay.
And they use a lot of herbs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So food is usually very light there. And even the vegetables, they have vegetables like pumpkins, squash,
water-based.
lettuce,
Okay.
gourds, all like full of water. Obviously some forest plants, which I don't know,
Right.
like their names, but they're usually like water-based vegetables. And most of this is organic.
So awesome. Aakash, now getting on with the rest of your journey. So how long did you spend at Kohima? Was that 3 days, 4 days?
Yes, actually 2 days, 2 starting days of Hornbill Festival, and then the last day.
After this, after the Hornbill, where was your next pit stop? Where did you move on to from there?
After Kohima, I went to a village called Kanoma, which is hardly 15-16 kilometers from Kohima. The reason I went to Kanoma was I wanted to go to Zoku Valley for a trek. But I could not go there because it had started raining, and because of heavy rainfall, all routes were closed. So I could not go for a trek. But second reason to go to Kanoma was because it's now marketed as one of the heritage villages. It has a long history. And it's India's first green village.
What do you mean by that, Aakash?
So Nagaland has had a history of hunting. Hunting is a part of the culture there. Most of the tribes there are hunter tribes, except for 1 or 2 in the Dimapur, which were mostly agriculturists. But all the other tribes were hunter tribes. So they used to go to the forest and hunt some animal, and that used to be the feast. Kanoma was the first village in the country, and obviously Nagaland, where they put a ban on hunting. The village decided to put a ban on hunting. They decided to move from the much practiced shifting cultivation, in which they burn a piece of forest land, they plant, then after 3 or 4 years, they move to the other patch of forest land. So that sort of agriculture is very unsustainable. So they move towards sustainable agriculture. They move towards organic agriculture. And then they developed a part of their village into a sanctuary, the Trigophan Sanctuary. Trigophan is their state bird.
It seems like a very good initiative by the people themselves and the government to go ahead and take the step, right?
It was taken up by the villagers, actually. In fact, the elders of the villages decided that this way it's not going to sustain. One day the animals will run out of animals, will run out of forest land, and that's the end of our culture. Because Naga life is all about forest, is all about the interaction between human and nature. And then they decided that we'll have to make everything sustainable. Now the younger generation is actually saying that we should be allowed to hunt, because that's also part of our culture. Hunting is very much there. And so I think they have reached some sort of a negotiation that out of 12 months, we will open the forest for 1 month or 45 days or something, and then you can hunt, and then you can hunt a maximum of X number of animals, and only these animals, not all the animals. So just to have that sustainability thing imbibed there. So it's a great initiative that ways.
Yeah, it's very progressive, I have to say.
That's true.
And it has a long history. 1 Indo-Naga war and 2 Anglo-Naga war were fought in Kanoma. So Kanoma was a princely state, or a capital of a princely state, and it had forts on top of the hills, and the back The battles were fought there.
So any ruins of the forts that are still there?
They are still there. They are still there.
Oh.
And the best part is that storytelling of their heroes, of the war heroes. I met people who are like hardly 19 or 20. And so you imagine the last war is somewhat in 1960s and these guys were born in 1990s. And you can sit with them and talk for hours and hours about, that local history of that village. This has formed a part of, the hero worship, the worshipping of their war heroes, telling the stories and making it go from one generation
to another.
So I was in Kohima for 3 days, and one of the days we had a Naga wrestling match there.
Oh, okay.
And I was lucky to be there because it happens once every year. And Naga wrestling is another it's a part of Naga culture, and you'll not find that style of wrestling anywhere else. And it's just like watching a samurai wrestling matches, lows or big guys fighting out for the trophy.
Oh, wow.
Any memorable interactions with the locals there, Aakash?
One thing I'll say that the locals are very, very hospitable there. Some invited me to come at their house and see stuff because I was traveling with a camera and the children were like mad and I started clicking those pictures. I have close to 400 or 500 pictures of children there.
Oh my God.
And once I was traveling and one of the old guys, he shouted to me, Hindi. And then he invited me to come over. And I went there and he gave me rice beer.
The famous rice beer, right?
Yes, and freshly brewed at his home.
Wow.
So he gave, and I was invited to play cricket with some kids.
Oh.
Like very small kids, 7, 8 years old. And I have a selfie with those guys there.
Oh, wow.
With the cricket team of Kohima.
Awesome.
That's
awesome. Very small moments, but these moments tell you about how hospitable residents are.
So Aakash, moving on from Kohima, where was your next pit stop? You said you spent about 3 days there. And thanks for giving that flavor of the culture there and the experience of life there in Kohima. But where was your next pit stop?
After this, I went to another district called Mon.
Oh, okay.
So Mon is like the least developed districts of Nagaland. And in fact, it was very much evident there. Okay. The district of Mon has only 2 ATMs. So you can imagine how less developed it is.
Yeah.
I reached Mon somewhere in the morning, and from I took a shared taxi and I went to a village, which is the last village in Nagaland and the last village of India. The name of the village is Longwa. Now the interesting part about this Longwa village is it is the land of the Konyaks, and Konyak is the warrior tribes of Nagaland, the ferocious warrior tribes, better known as headhunters.
Oh yeah.
My God. Okay. Are they literally headhunters?
Not are, they were.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to elaborate a little bit on this because a lot of us city folks won't be too familiar with this term headhunters. So
yeah, I can only think of my HR and everybody as a headhunter.
Actually, so this Mon is very close to Assam. On the other side of it is Myanmar. This Assam then was a kingdom of great Ahom rulers. Ahom is was one of the most dominant tribes of Assam, and they had a huge kingdom. On the Myanmar side, there were again different Naga kingdoms over there. Around the Konyak territory, there were kingdoms and very dominant kingdoms. And I think that's what made them very fierce. So these headhunters, they were very fierce warriors. They used to go to battles with machetes and used to literally cut down heads of their opponents and bring those heads to the village.
Oh my God.
It's like sending a very, very strong signal to the opponent.
Oh, Lord, that is scary.
That's why they are known as headhunters. They're literally hunting for heads.
No.
So these warriors, interesting part is that they have tattoos.
Okay.
So men have tattoos all over their faces.
Oh.
Every head
Huh?
They hunted means one more tattoo
Oh my God. On the
face?
on the face and the body.
Oh wow. Okay.
Even the women used to have tattoos, but women had tattoos on their legs.
Okay.
And these tattoos were like, for the women, these tattoos were indicative of their age. Like for example, they used to have tattoos below knees. That was like, okay, this girl hasn't reached puberty, so you can't take her.
Okay.
Then once she reaches the marriageable age, she'll have another tattoo. It means this girl can now be taken after marriage. And all these marriages were actually competition to, because the bravest should get the girl. So after marriage, she had another tattoo, which meant now
She's
the girl can,
Yeah.
she's married. So,
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting to hear. So,
Did you get to meet any of those
yeah.
headhunters, Aakash?
yes.
Oh
So,
wow.
now these headhunters are like 70, 80 years old men.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I met three of them, in fact. Yes, it stopped in 1960s when the church took over, and the Baptist church stopped this tradition because obviously it's not humane.
Yeah.
Right.
So they stopped this tradition. So yeah, 1960s, and now these headhunters are almost like 70, 80, some in 90s. So maybe 10 or 15 years more and you will not have any headhunters.
I know.
That's true.
That's sad. I mean, good that the practice stopped, but I mean, it's a part of history, and I bet they would have so many stories to tell.
The way they used to get these tattoos. So the wife of the chief, because these were all tribal villages, right?
Right.
So tribal villages, they have their chief, tribal chief.
Right.
And it was only the wife of the chief who was allowed to put these marks. And these tattoos were like hot, simmering thing of, I don't know what material, but that hot material used to like put on these guys.
Oh my God, that's scary.
And the process used to run for like 2-3 days. One of the headhunters actually told me that, I asked him, how did you feel when, this thing happened to you? Like, you were tattooed. And he was like, it's a symbol of your bravery, no doubt about it. Your social status obviously goes up as a warrior. But then getting those tattoos is like, it was more difficult than a battle.
I bet.
So painful.
Yeah, oh my God. And the worst part is it's on your face.
It's on your face, yes.
Yeah, that's more scary.
And these headhunters, they actually used to wear like a garland, necklace actually, and these necklace used to have parts like bones and stuff of their opponent.
Oh my God, don't tell me that, okay? Yeah, I was just about to ask you what do they do with their heads, but then I thought, okay, I'm not going to ask that.
Okay, no. Now that you have asked, you have mentioned, I should tell you. Most of the heads have now been they have been earthed.
Okay.
It's only in one of the village, some kilometers from Longwa, where you have one hut where you can go and see some of those heads. And otherwise they are all earthed. So I was sitting at the chief's hut. Now the interesting thing, in fact, Longwa is a part in India and a part in Myanmar. The chief's hut is part in India and part in Myanmar. So it's often said that the chief cooks in India and eats in Myanmar.
Oh.
So I was sitting with this chief and I asked him, where are these heads now? And he said, you are sitting on them.
Oh Lord. Okay.
A lot of those heads are actually earthed next to his house.
Quite
But that
interesting.
must have been an interesting experience, right? Spending time at the chieftain's house, which you said is part in India and part in Myanmar, because
Yes.
it seems unreal. It seems like fiction almost.
So I was told that, the last chief, he was very hospitable. And the last chief died 2 years back, and now his son became the chief.
Okay.
And I was told that his son is not that hospitable as the last chief. But I had a really good experience with him. And in Longwa, the tradition is that you have to have opium. Opium is a part of their lifestyle. Evening, it means it's opium. And And this guy was having opium at 12 in the morning. And he offered me. I asked him, like, it's illegal. You know, Assam rifles is next to your house and you are having it. Like, I tried to sort of tease him, like, some set of a joke.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, go to that room. That is in Myanmar. It becomes legal then.
Okay, I like this guy.
Yeah, must have been a fun guy to hang out with.
Yes, actually. If you go inside their huts, because I stayed in one of the huts in Longwa, and inside the huts, you can see those things, you can see some meat hanging, you can see a gun hanging for sure, because these Konyaks were the first one to start using guns. And they still have a small gun factory, like a homemade gun factory in their village. And they use those guns now to hunt animals. But earlier they used to use these guns in their wars, in the tribal wars. So you will see those things, those artifacts and Konyaks are very good, these wooden carvers. So you'll find a lot of carvings over there. In front of the chief's house, you will find 3 or 4, ladies sitting with a whole lot of carvings and different artifacts to sell it to you. And those are really beautiful, in fact.
It's a different phase of the fierce Konyaks, I guess, right? Right from headhunting to being good at carving.
Yeah, definitely. And in fact, this thing I learned in Hornbill Festival also, that Konyaks are the best carvers.
It seems like you had a fun time in Longwa, right? Even though you said Mon was one of the least developed districts of Nagaland.
Yes.
In terms of experience, I'm sure this is one of the richest you've had. So after that roller coaster of a ride in Longwa, where next did you head off to, Aakash?
So after that, I went to Mokok Chung, which is another district. And in Mokok Chung, I went to a heritage village. Okay. This is Chuchu Yimilang. It's a heritage village which is developed by the Nagaland Tourism Board. Okay. And in fact, this is one of the practice that they have developed. They are developing heritage villages. And they actually plan to develop a village for every tribe. There are 17 tribes, so they develop 17 different villages. Okay. So when you go to these villages, you can actually, live the life that these tribes live. They are mostly selling the experience.
Okay.
So this is a sort of a model village, you may say, right?
It's a model village. It's a model village to promote cultural tourism.
True.
The stay options are again the huts built in the way the tribe builds. And food-wise also, you can have the same set of foods that the tribe has. You can go and know their cultures and their customs and whole lot of things that they do. And they will take you out on a village trek. And while on a village trek, you will get to know a lot about, these different plants and stuff and this and that. So this is something that I did in Kanoma. This is something that I did in Longwa. And again in Chuchu Yimlang, I did the same thing. Like go on a village trek, and while on my village trek, I get to know a lot of his stories. True. And obviously, I get to eat a lot. In Kanoma, I almost had like a small bag full of wild apples, and
wow,
literally devouring on those wild apples.
Amazing.
And obviously, their stories.
Yeah. But how easy is it to get accommodation or reservation at these heritage villages, Aakash?
Not that difficult at all. You have to just inform them in advance.
Okay.
The village head actually told me that it is not that difficult to get accommodations here.
Okay.
Because they never run a house full. In fact, that's what he said.
Okay.
So I'm saying that because it's a heritage village developed by the Nagaland Tourism Board, so you can go to their website, get the coordinates from there, or you can call up the Nagaland Tourism guy and they will connect you to these people in the respective villages, and then you can coordinate and get yourself an accommodation.
Okay, that sounds great.
Awesome. So Aakash, as we inch closer towards the end of the itinerary, is there more pit stops you made before heading back to Hornbill, or how was this?
No, after Mokokching, I went straight to Hornbill for the last day.
Excellent. That's been, as I said, I probably sound a little repetitive, but it has been at points. Your journey has been like literally out of a movie, right from the colorful Hornbill festival one day to dining or chatting with the chieftain of the headhunters the other day to sitting on some of the skulls and everything. So it's unreal at times, but I'm sure as it was as exciting and as adventurous as it sounds. So if I had to call out one memorable experience from this whole trip, what would that be, Aakash?
I think the most memorable, apart from these experiences, was like on a village trip to Kohima.
Oh.
That was like amazing. I was like inching closer to the Zoku Valley, which is considered a very beautiful place. I learned the entire, how elders came together and decided, and the sort of pride that it gives in these guys in telling their history and the decisions they have taken, in the stories they tell. In fact, I like to add one more story here. When the Anglo-Indian War was happening, the first Anglo-Indian War.
Right.
So the British were on the valley, and these guys, the village in Kohima, they were uphill. These villagers only had machetes with them. In the name of weapon, they only had machetes.
Okay.
And British, they had guns, and you are nowhere in comparison to guns. These guys, there's a special species of bamboo there.
Okay.
And when you hit on this bamboo, it sounds exactly like a gunshot.
Oh.
Okay.
These guys, they started beating these bamboo like in a rhythm, just to give feeling to the British that we too have gunshots. So don't dare to come near us. We are uphill. We can obviously have better shot, and we are equipped with your weapons.
Oh Lord, they would have just ran away from that village.
Yeah, that's really sly.
That's how they won the first Anglo-Indian War.
That's smart.
That's so smart.
And yeah, the second the Anglo-Naga War was way too deadly, because then bombings and stuff happened, and the fort was like literally devastated.
Oh.
It had to be redeveloped again. And yeah, but there's always a story there.
That's seriously amazing to know all these stories.
No, I was just saying that, like it's just like I have hardly covered like 10 or 20% of Nagaland. There's still a lot of Nagaland to be covered. And you can imagine, like, you have so many stories over there. You have, so many things which you can't even imagine, which you might never have heard or never written down anywhere.
That's true.
They are all there.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
tell you those stories and how fascinating these stories are.
Yeah. And they just passed on from one generation to another.
They are.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Like this year, I really want to go there again in October.
Uh-huh.
In October, they have Amur Falcon migration.
Okay.
That happens in a district called Phek.
Okay.
That's how you pronounce it, Phek. So that's the name of the district where they have Amur Falcons, and Amur Falcons come in millions. I have seen photographs and I was like, oh my God. And so earlier, the tribes in Phek Valley, Phek district, they used to hunt these Amur Falcons, trap them, hunt them, and it was a part of their seasonal cuisine, you may say it. But then a long conservation program was run by Wildlife Trust of India, and a lot of awareness camp was taken up. Now they have stopped this hunting. Community has come forward to develop tourism models around this, the migration season. That's quite inspiring thing.
Yeah, so that happens in October?
That happens in October.
Oh, okay. That's great. So we would look forward to a new post around October from you then.
Sure, if I get a chance, I will definitely make that place in October.
So Aakash, please tell us the best option for our listeners to contact you as well.
Well, to contact me, the best way is you go and read my stories on my blog, handofcolors.me. And there's a Facebook page by that name, Hand of Colors, in which you will get all the stories and some photographs and like the snippets, some experiences. In fact, some of the experiences which I haven't been able to write on my blog are there. And Twitter. It's by my name, Aakash Mehrotra. Instagram, again by my name, Aakash Mehrotra.
Yeah, and just for the note of our listeners, we will have all these links in the show notes section. So in case you haven't been able to make note of them, they'll always be there for your ready reference. Aakash, before we let you go, I'd like to thank you very, very much for being such a wonderful guide and taking us to this one of the lesser explored states of our country, Nagaland, and showing us the beauty around. And even though it's considered one of the smallest states, showing us that how much it has to offer in terms of experiences and colors and history more than anything. So thank you so much for being a wonderful guide, and we look forward to hearing more from you about Nagaland and about your other travels as well.
Thank you, Aakash.
Thanks a lot for inviting me.
That was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Pocket Radio, or any other podcasting app that's available on iOS or Android. You could also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com and visit our website www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of the podcast. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.